Hi there, let's start learning what about shapes. In the last lesson we learned how to create lines and outlines etc. using these tools. Now we'll be learning how to create any of these basic shapes using this tool panel over here. If you don't see this, you can always right click or long press and you'll see these tools come up here. Also, if you want to, you could always press on this triangle and get this whole window to come out, and then you can move it around and change it etc. if you're going to use it a lot. Also, if you want to create a shortcut, as you can see, only these two have a shortcut. If you want to create a shortcut for these, you can always go to edit and keyboard shortcuts and you can add shortcuts to those. So now let's take this rectangle tool and you can just simply click down and drag anywhere you want to create whichever size or length rectangle. If you want to create a square, then hold down Shift so that these proportions will be kept on all sides. And if you hold down Alt, then the square will grow from the inside outwards. And with the spacebar, all this is without me leaving the mouse. With the spacebar, you can actually drag this shape or square around before you leave go of the mouse. Then you leave go of the mouse and you have created this shape. Now once you left go, obviously you can always change any of these settings. You can change the colors here and the stroke color or the stroke size, etc. Also with this direct selection tool, you can change any of these and move them around like we learned in previous lessons. So let's just bring all this back. Just pressing Ctrl Command Z. Now you can also press once. So with this tool, I press once anywhere on the screen and you'll see this window opening up. With this window, you can put in the exact values. If you know the size of the square you want to create, you can put in the width and the height. This chain will make these proportionate. It wouldn't make it into a square, so you can have this chained up. Sorry, let's just unchain it first. You can always change these values by pressing the arrow keys up or down also, or with a shift arrow key up or down, that will move it up or down by 10 points at a time. And you can always type in, say you've got in centimeters or millimeters, so you can do 44 inches or whatever it will be, and press the tab or enter and you'll see it converts it automatically to that amount. That's a very cool thing. And also you can scroll with your mouse, so you simply hover over there and scroll up and down with your mouse wheeler. That's very cool. So as you can see now, this is not chained together. Once I click, now it's chained together, so anything I change here will be proportionate to that. So once I change this, and that will change that as well, but it doesn't mean that it will be a square, so people get confused with that sometimes. Then you press OK and you get this rectangle there. Now if you want to get the same square, I wouldn't really want to get that same square. Say I've got this smaller square and I want to get the same one once again, so I'm drawing this square and I want to get this exact same one there. Then you press down anywhere on the screen and you'll get this window which will give you the exact same values as the last square created. That's very cool, so you can create the same square once again. Obviously you can always just hold down with the regular selection tool, you can hold down Alt or Option and move it, duplicate those like that, and you can press down Control Command D to do the same thing once again over however many times you want. That may be useful sometimes. Now then, let's go on to the next tool. So the next tool is the rounded rectangle tool. This is the exact same, everything is the same here. You can press down Shift to make it a square and Alt or Option to make it grow from the inside outwards, and with the spacebar to move. The only difference is that this has rounded corners, so you can create that the same thing as well. And you have this window added, that is how round will these corners be. You can also do that while you're creating the shape with the arrow keys up and down, so you can round them more or less. See where I'm pressing down, that will make it more square, or the up button, or you can press the right to make it completely rounded the most possible, or the left one to make it the more like square completely. If you press the right button or you round it the most and you hold on Shift to make it like a square, so to speak, then you'll get exact circle because this is completely rounded. Now the truth is, I don't know why you need this tool at all, because both for the square, let's just draw a square here, for the square and for the rounded rectangle, you can change these angles over here by holding any of these dots around that you see there, like in any rectangle shape or any straight angle, and you can move these there and that will round them just as well. So I don't know why you need them. And also this, that's a circle, you can make it a square again just by pulling that out. If you want to do that for one single side, then you just click once again on that. You can see that's highlighted that circle, and then that will change only that one circle. So that's cool to know, but then I'm not sure why they created that extra tool there. Also, as you can see, once you press out, you have this default of this, you have the default of the curve of the line, how much it will be. You can always change the default in the preferences by going to edit, preferences, or on a Mac it will be under Illustrator. And preferences, in general, you will have here corner radius. You can change that there to the default amount if you're using it a lot, I guess. Oh, and by the way, you can also change any of those curve options. If you want to get exact amount, you can change it in the transform window. You go under Windows and you can get it from there always. Over there. And you can change it here, the angle of those corners, how much it will be. You can change it over there, and the size, everything you can change over there. We'll go over it in some other lesson. So let's just put that inside because we'll use it later maybe. Now the next tool is the ellipse tool. You can draw that either circles by holding down shift to make it proportionate. By the way, you can see this red cross in the middle, and also with the square you can see that cross there. That's just a smart guide telling you that's proportion on both sides. We learned about smart guides in another lesson. If you want to disable them, you can just press the shortcut Control Command U. That'll disable those smart guides so you can work with a neater environment if you want. Now obviously this tool is exactly the same thing as a square, so you can drag out and hold down the spacebar to move around, and without it will make it grow from the center outwards. Then obviously with the, once again, you can press in the middle anywhere and you have these width and height. If you want to create a circle, proper circle, then you have to make the same value over here and there. So you can just go copy, Control Command C and delete that, and press Control V, and I'll create you a perfect circle. Now a cool thing you have in this tool, if you go to the direct selection tool or the regular selection tool even, you will have, only in the regular selection tool, you have this small icon over there, and you can quickly create a pie. So that's very cool. You can change any of those values over there and create this cool looking pie any size you want. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle, you can do it on any ellipse shape. Now we have the next tool here, and it's the Polygon tool. Once again, the same thing, you just drag out, and with space you can move around, and with shift will make it like stand on the base of the tool. Now what's cool about this, you can add polygons or add angles, whatever they're called, segments, with the arrow keys up or down. So you can see I'm adding there or subtracting with the down key, and there you've got a triangle there or a square, etc. You can also do the same thing just by clicking once, and then you've got that there, and it will create the same one as the one you created before. And once again, you can round these corners, you can round them all just by putting that one, or otherwise with the direct selection tool you have a round circle for each one, so you can click only on that, you'll see that highlighted, and then you can change only one of that points. Now a cool thing about this tool that only exists in this one, I think, is that if you look carefully over here, you should find it somewhere, you've got this small icon over there, and if you hover over it, you will see this plus and minus button. Once you click on it and drag down, then you would be taking away some of the sides or adding more. You can go up only till 11. You can see you can change this shape, so it's a very cool thing, because normally shapes you aren't able to change once you created them with that ease. Also in the transform panel over here, you can also change here how many sides and the curves of them, etc. So that's a cool thing to know. The next tool is the star tool. With this, once again, if you hold down shift, then you're making it stand on the base, and space you can move. Here, if you hold down alt, it wouldn't make it grow out from the center outwards because it does it in any case. It just makes these, if you see this points of the star, these like hands of a star, once you hold down alt or option, it's within a 45-degree angle. Each one will be a 45-degree angle. So that's a very cool thing if you want to get like a nice straight star. And with control or command key, you can make them grow outwards. So you can choose how much outwards or inside. You can choose how extreme it will be. And you can add more points by the up or down keys on your keyboard. That will create more or less. So that can be a very cool effect you can get there. Once again, if you press once, you'll get this window here. And you can choose radius 1 is the distance between the center until where the point of the star starts. That's the distance of that. And radius 2 is from the center until the end of the star. The points is how many points will be. You can just scroll down it, change those like that. So that's very cool. You can create a lot of kinds of stars, and if you hold down the alt, then you'll get it within 45 degrees, then it'll be like a flowery kind of star. And now we're up to the last and final tool, the flare tool. With this you can create all nice flares. So you just hold down and drag. If it disturbs you, that's like spinning away as whenever you move it, then you can hold down shift and then it wouldn't move. You can just make it bigger or smaller like that. Now with the arrow keys up or down, you can add these glare stuff, or I'm not sure whatever it's called. Now you could leave this flare tool like that. It's quite cool. You can have lots of cool effects, and you can add also another one if you want by simply pressing. As long as you didn't press anything else, you just press anywhere. You can see this weird icon over there. Press down anywhere and you'll get this flare continuing here. So it's like this cool camera lens effect or whatever it may be. You can also, let me just go back, delete that. You can also create one like that and then press down, and instead of just pressing down and leaving go, press down and actually pull. So now I have control of where that shoot will be, or whatever you may call it. You can also press up or down the arrow keys to add these rings going to that arm of the flare, or lessen those rings. And if you press on the tilde key that's just below the escape, then you can add shapes randomly. So that's cool. It changes those shapes just randomly, those circles. So you can get some very cool effects there. It's like random, it's completely random colors and opacity and everything. You can obviously press once and you'll get this flare tool option window, and you can choose the center of how much the diameter would be, and the opacity and the brightness of it. And the halo, you can choose how much will be outwards, and the fuzziness, if it will be like very clear or very phased. You can choose if it will have rays or won't, and how many, and the length, etc. And these rings, we've been through all of those, and the direction. And what's cool about this flare tool, you can't see it very well. There are like brushes of light going there, but it's on white background, so you can't see it very well. You can always change this flare tool by double clicking on this flare tool, and by the tools panel you can double click and you'll get this window. And once again, you can change any of those here for the existing ones. So that's very cool. Just doing Control Z. So even if you did any other shape, say you made a rectangle in the meantime, let's actually do it. A rectangle from there to there, and center back. There you go. Now once if you want to change this flare tool, then you press on it and you choose from there the flare tool, and you double click on it, and then you'll be able to change anything to the existing flare tool. So that's a very cool thing to know of. Also, if you want, you can always just delete all of those. You can always create each flare to be on its own thing by going to Object, Expand, and then you can ungroup those, and you'll get each one will be on its own. You can change each one, you can see that, and you can use some of those elements because they're very cool elements to use. So just undoing that. Now say you've got a nice background, it will be probably preferable to have a picture of some sort. I'm just doing a regular boring rectangle here, and send to back. Then you can always choose the flare tool, and in the transparency panel you can always select it from Windows transparency. Then you can choose here a blending mode that makes the different blends onto the color below it, so you can get some very cool effects there, and you can try them all out. It's more for Photoshop stuff, but you can do many stuff on Illustrator as well. Fine guys, thank you so much for joining me on this video. If you gained anything, please give a like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave any of your questions, comments, tips or ideas at the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.